What's happening in racing world? Yes, it is time for another edition of the Morning Post. The producers scream into me as that countdown's going on. Orton, your mic is live. That means it's time for a game face and to take you through the next hour or so with the best in the business and try and find you some profitability on this interesting Saturday of flat racing coming your way. Like and subscribe. That's what it's all about. Go on, thumbs up. That's what we want to see. Get the community. Good morning, everyone that's been waiting to have their say. Our regulars, of course, if you're new to the show, this is your chance to interact. Get your naps in today. What's going to win the Beverley Bullet? Yes, it's one of those Saturdays. Lacking Group 1 action, maybe, but there's a great card at the Curragh. Johnny Dineen will be joining us in around about half an hour's time or so, not to give us his pearls of wisdom for the Curragh, but also his best plays of the day. We'll be taking a look inside the Racing Post. This is the place to be, honestly, and let's see exactly who we've got. Don't forget, sponsored by William Hill, we'll be opening up the trading floor as usual for you, and those markets will be changing in front of our eyes. The weather is set fair. That means Paul Kealy must be as well. Never know where I'm going to go.
It was raining this morning, wasn't it?
Apparently there was rain. Aidan Coleman joins us back as well. Aidan, good to see you here.
Thanks for having me.
We'll get to that in a minute. Kills, yeah. It always seemed every time I talk to you about the weather, Kills, which you were obsessed with a little bit, when other people weren't maybe watching it. Well, I used to call you, Ian McCaskill.
Well,
and stuff
I mean, look, you have to, especially if you're punting Ante-Post, because obviously I do a lot of punting on a Monday night for Saturday races. Now I've got to keep an eye on the weather, haven't I? Because you've got to have some idea of what the going is.
Must be a nightmare.
Right. Yeah, it's a right pain. I've various different apps.
It's a pain if you go to the beach or something, isn't it? Never mind punting,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you've got to do it. It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, from a jockey's perspective, ex-jockey, is it something that you used to bemoan, or have you just always been used to the changing microclimates?
Well, and you're racing every day, so you're not really worried about racing on Thursday when you're going racing on Monday or Tuesday or whatever. So if you take as a jockey, take every day as you come. You're worried about getting to Saturday. You might speak to your agent on the way home about where you might go if there's multiple meetings on, or you're fortunate enough to have options of where to go. But the weather never really came into it as much. Yeah. Because in the winter, you're taking it on. Every horse is going to want a bit of digging the ground.
Did you have a favourite surface to ride on?
Oh, heavy. Every jump jockey wants heavy ground.
You wouldn't think that, would you? It's pretty hard work, isn't it?
Well, no, when you try falling off, I'm good to firm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. It goes slower and it hurts less. So
yeah, I was just curious about that. I wasn't sure.
Always heavy. Yeah, we used to hate to change it going in the spring, because you'd have the winter mentality, but the horses would be going that bit faster, and you'd see a lot of jockeys get hurt kind of come March, April time.
Sure, okay, all right. Yeah. So you're near Sandown, that's one of our pivotal tracks today. Tell us the lowdown. There was rain this morning, right?
Yeah, it wasn't much. Just annoying coming in and walking down to the train station, that was all.
Just enough to annoy you.
It certainly wouldn't be ground-changing amounts.
That's just perked everyone up over their breakfast, doesn't it? Absolutely. This is a conversational show, as you're seeing. It's slightly different to anything you might have seen. If you're new to us, let's now do what we always do and open up William Hill's trading floor for you. Top trader Jamie McBride waits for us at HQ. There he is. Jay, guten morgen to you. How's the week been? What are we looking at? What are we worried about on this Saturday? And then give us the boost.
Morning, Dave. Yep, all good. It was definitely a bit cooler waiting for my train this morning. Winter's definitely on its way. The boost this morning is Tamfana. We've tried our best to give you one of the more high-profile horses of the day, so we are going to go 6-4 from 5-4. Tamfana to win the 225 Sandown.
You've tried very hard because you found her, I think. I imagine a lot of people have just, if they're watching it with it on in the background, have just zoomed in and put down their papers or whatever. Yes, it is the second race at Sandown today. The Atalanta Stakes for fillies was 5-4. David Manouzier, big day for him. He's got Case Chorister as well at Chester. Looks like it's an easy opportunity, but is there pressure mounting? Well, we will find out with the panellists whether they'll be having a bit of that boost or not. It's live now on the app or indeed on the website as well. You're right, Jay. Absolutely. There is a whiff of winter in the air. And let's just stay with you quickly on that, Jay. We're going to have a few bits of conversation before we look at the 5 previews on a Saturday that we're doing for you. Get ready for them. You mentioned a whiff of winter. That means always at this time of year, especially with the American stuff, Saratoga, Kentucky Downs, 31 million over the next 7 days. We've got Bella Justin, Andrew Baldwin's going over for the Nashville Derby. I always start to get excited a little bit now about the Breeders' Cup coming up. And we had it confirmed this week. We spoke about him on the show last week. City of Troy. Now, as half expected, goes straight to the Breeders' Cup Classic. You were, and what are you now?
We are 3-1, which hasn't changed since the aftermath of York, really. Not a lot. We didn't learn a great deal from the Travers last week, I don't think, with Fierceness winning just from Torpedo Anna and Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone might be the one for the Classic to take out. That looks to be crying out for the strongly run 10 furlongs. But we also now got all 9 races out for Breeders' Cup Saturday. We just finished those off this week, and the juvenile races will follow probably in the next 10 days or so. So yeah, it is always something to look forward to. Myself and Johnny both love our international racing, so yeah, we're looking forward to Delmont.
Yeah, that makes 3 of us. I'm not sure that makes 4 of us.
The Bleeders Cup.
Oh, you're on form this morning, aren't you? Aidan, fan?
Yeah, big fan. Yeah, big fan.
I mean,
yeah.
it's a great party, isn't it? You know what I mean?
fan. I'd like to go.
We're not going to. We haven't got time to get your boring old codger attitude about it.
Who's got the best syringe, innit?
Well, Jesus, man,
anymore.
unbelievable.
Oh, no,
and what's the comment in running that you say as well? Come on, let's regurgitate that one as well.
Fast away, always led.
Fast away on the rails, always led.
Fast away rails, always led. Yeah,
The interesting thing is, on the 20th of September, as the Racing League was finishing on Thursday night, quick word about that in a second, Mark Clayton, the chief executive there, said it's confirmed Aidan is coming. They're flying over American stalls. They're bringing over 5 horses. Well, we don't think the public are invited, actually. When they did it with Giant's Causeway all those years ago and other horses, I think the public were there watching it. I'm not sure if they do it with Declaration of War, but this is a thing. Do you remember after his...
They're flying over American stalls?
They are. They're going to fly over Ballydoyle.
Well.
Such an operation. They're bringing over the gates as well and everything.
Yeah, that's weird, but they're taking it to Southall, which is literally got no... You know, it might as well be grass, mightn't it? Because it's not dirt, is it?
Do you remember Aidan's slip of the tongue when he sort of got Southwell and Wolverhampton mixed up and said Southampton? He said, we're going to Southampton. Yeah. But it just the point of bringing that up is we've
well,
had
I mean, Ballydoyle, I've never been there, but it's such a massive place. I'm surprised they haven't got their own proper dirt gallop.
It does beg a belief, Aidan, a bit, doesn't it?
Well, for the one horse they run every decade, it's probably not really worth it, even with the funds they have. But
that's a fair point.
Yeah, but they've been wanting to win it. For God knows how long.
This year.
The Sierra Leone point is interesting because, of course, he's the horse. Is he Todd Pletcher, Sierra Leone? Jamie will shout in my ear if he's not in a minute. Or he might be Chad Brown. I can't remember who he is. He's one of the top boys. He's obviously owned by Ballydoyle. He was the one they wanted to win the Kentucky Derby. They've got a line on all of these horses. Anyway, that's happening. 3-1. City of Troy now confirmed. Let's talk about the Racing League quickly. We're going to go through a few news points. We've got the right people to be doing that. Now this is interesting, isn't it? And now it came to a crescendo, of course, at Southwell on Thursday night.
Did it?
It did. It did. Don't tell me that passed you by, Kills. You're being mischievous this morning. So you were on the golf course, and then like you must have hit a hole in one. You had to buy the whole golf course of beer, by the sounds of it. And it came to a crescendo. Safi Osborne again, Jamie Osborne again. Billy Loughnane rode a double. We've seen some very good horses throughout the show as well. The fight 6 weeks, wasn't it? £10 of Harry Charlton's looks like a really good sprinter, for example. And competitive racing. Matt Chapman said, I've had enough. I'm not doing it tomorrow as well. Do we think it's come to an end, or are we a fan? Let's go to the guys and get a word from Jamie as well.
Well, look, I mean, in all seriousness, right, the money's been good. A lot of the races have been competitive. It has been limited to only to certain trainers, so it's a bit of a closed shop. I mean, and a lot of the races haven't filled throughout as well, even though it has been competitive. There have been loads. I mean, there was one time at Chepstow there was 57 runners. I think it's supposed to be 98, isn't it? 714s, you know. So, but you know, the prize money is good. The racing has been competitive, but there's this big, there's a big pantomime about the teams and all that. Nobody cares. Literally, nobody cares. And I'm not, you know. And you see Kevin Blake, you know, playing the game and all that. I mean, you know, I cannot believe he does that with any real enthusiasm. That's just all force. I cannot believe for a minute, right, that he's, Team Ireland and all that. No one cares.
Look out for this on X and you'll see
No
Blakey and the
I mean,
replies,
who do we have training for Scotland as well?
Good question.
Who do we have? Hughie Morrison?
Yeah, oh, right. We had George O'Barry, didn't we? That was the famous
George
one.
Baker. Somebody else, like, you know, and it's absolutely
Aidan,
ludicrous.
give a bit of yin to this yang.
Look, speaking in the industry, like my brother had a runner. We wanted a couple more, but nothing. It was just horse got hurt or whatever. Like, good prize money. It's worth coming over for. And like in a day and age, we're always giving out about prize money. I think it's important that, you know, if you have it there, you know, this is what everyone's asking for. So
Not open to everybody, though, is it?
It isn't. It isn't. It's more open. I think it's more open than you think.
Even Chapman had a
I think
moan
it's more
yesterday
open
when I
than
was
you
chatting to him. He went down to Fosslass afterwards, and he said to me, live actually, I didn't know he was going to do it. He said, "Oh, I've sat myself. I did terribly." And for whatever you make about that, Matt's obviously feels like his participation has come to an end. Probably still be presented.
No, but he's hamming it up, though, isn't it? I did terribly, bad captain and all that nonsense. He wouldn't have had anything to do with it in the first place.
I think.
But he had a bit of a moan about Safi Osborne getting all the best rides. If you look at Thursday night, I don't know how we feel about this, but I thought it was good actually that Safi rode the treble. One of them was 14-1. It wasn't like they were all even money. Billy Loughnane, who was one of her nearest pursuers, he rode a double. That's got to be good for the game. Yeah. And Danny Muscat, who was 12 behind going in, finished second. He had one as well. But Chappers was like, perhaps he suggested that Wales were not playing the game maybe as they should have done. But anyway, that's that. It is a game, isn't it?
It could be restructured a little bit, but I'd like to see it continue because the prize money and the bones of it is probably a very good idea. But
I think I'd like to see it continue.
Yeah, whether there's a bit of changes
because
needed.
of that.
Right.
Yeah,
So
because of the
hang on,
competitiveness.
You were saying Wales weren't playing the game.
Listen, that's because
I'm just not sure about the team thing about it, because racing isn't a team game.
I'll tell you what, Jamie McBride, let's talk about the liquidity that you see with these races. On a Thursday, are these the most traded on races? One thing that I've got from a lot of punters that would be, as old as Keels and me and yourself and regular punters that have been around for quite a long time. It's very difficult mentally to look at these colours that aren't usually the silks that you associate with a horse. That's something I don't know how they're ever going to get above. Like, for example, that £10 that won at Newcastle, the group horse in the handicap. I know that he's in the King's Gambit colours. I can see his runs mentally in my mind then. But when I look at the paper, for example, in the Racing Post or I look at the Races card or whatever they are, I just don't know who's who. Does that resonate with punters as well?
It will do. And it also takes away from the pool of horses as well. I've seen tweets from owners saying they're not going to run if they're not in my colours, etc., etc. From our point of view, obviously any racing on ITV is positive. Competitive handicaps is positive. So if you look at the individual cards, it's very good. Obviously, it doesn't help when a popular jockey like Safi Osborne rides 824-1 trebles for the bookmakers. But obviously, I agree with what Paul's saying. 99.999% of punters only care about the horse they've backed, and any team element and claiming various people are Scottish or Irish is a nonsense, really.
All right, let's put you on the spot, Jamie. Should it return?
Yes, but with some tweaks, maybe.
Kills?
Yes.
Say what you think.
Yes, with no teams.
Let's keep the prize money.
Yeah, just keep the prize money. Put the racing
Aidan?
on.
I think what Jamie said, yes, but with tweaks.
Yeah, I'm the same as well. All right, what do you reckon that's most important? We're giving you a little, open up some topics, which are all on everyone's mind. Let's face it, I'm sure the community is going up. We'll see if we've got time to give you a shout out on the show as well. Just while we're on that, Jamie said there's a whiff of autumn in the air. There definitely is. And we can't help ourselves, can we? But the Constitution Hill thing has come up. Obviously, David Jennings, of course, has been tasked with a big headline, of course, on the website this morning. You can go, of course, to the website and read that now with DJ, or it's in your paper. And he basically says, at the moment, it's a bit like Constitutional's return. I think the word is like Pele in his peak playing in Saudi Arabia. Now, this is like Ronaldo or Messi or whatever. What DJ's worried about is that other people won't come and take him on. Before I go to Aidan on this, Skills, have your rant.
Well, no, I just think we're going to bore ourselves to tears talking about this in the winter. Why are we talking about it in the summer? Simple as that. I mean, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Come October, we'll all be saying exactly the same. Yeah, he's going to go here, there, not face anyone. Be 10 on every race, yeah, but so what? Why are we talking about it now?
There is a responsibility, Aidan, of course, for DJ is saying for Willie Mullins is as much to blame, I think it was DJ that said that, to not take over Stateman, to have a pop at him at maybe the Fighting Fifth or something like that. Of course, totally different programmes, but these 20-1 on races are what is sort of killing jump racing, isn't it? Yeah. And what I think we'll all agree with, guys, and Keels, I can echo him, and probably Jamie as well, Royal Ascot as a product wiped the floor with Cheltenham this year. You look back at Cheltenham now, I don't know, it's under a bit of pressure. The stakeholders in racing, notably trainers and owners, have a responsibility too, right?
Yeah, I think when you look at Cheltenham, you look at a lot of novice chases in particular, Champion Hurdle, the Mares Race, they weren't competitive at all, were they? So,
well, I think Cheltenham over the years
it's too diluted, isn't it?
To build up for the fourth day, and the plan at one point to go to 5. I mean, they've gone out of their way to make it uncompetitive. And now we've got these huge powerhouse trainers, it just makes it even worse.
It'd be better if it was 3 days, wouldn't it? Really?
But even the build-up is tiring, isn't it? Now, we got to also sort of, let's be honest, you know, some of us profit on that, Kills, don't we? Do you know what I mean? There's a gravy train, isn't it? It starts all the way through. But it doesn't...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The beautiful thing about Royal Ascot was we only really started looking at it when the debts came out.
Yeah, to be sure, I can make a few quid out of Cheltenham going. I mean, I did less Cheltenham previews this year than I ever have done before, because even I get bored with it. I mean, I can make some money out of it, but it doesn't mean you don't have to like it. Yeah. You don't have to like what's going on with the meeting.
So the underlining thing is Constitution Hill back, great. I've been to Charlie Vigers' place, Aidan, of course. You know a great deal about it. I mean, that Charlie Vigers yard with Charlie and Tracy, it is unbelievable, isn't it? They're all, and actually Hendo said we were, you know, conscious of respiratory issues and things like that. We wanted to have a perfect, so it couldn't be any better for him. But we thought this last year, didn't we, when he came back, and still it didn't work out.
It was never going to be a bad report, was it? You know, all the vibes are good.
But it is gorgeous down there. And
but I mean about, like, you know, the update in Constitution Hill. It was never going to be like doom and gloom, was it? It was always going to be ultra positive in that. But due to his ailments and the colic and all that, I think he has to be taken on in the fighting fifth. But
you'd be telling Frank Berry and give me that ride.
I wouldn't be telling anyone anything, but you have to take him on, because you don't know, with the troubled season he had last year due to probably not running enough, in my opinion, what Constitutional is there. I think
you've worked against him, have you, before?
Lots of times, and I've followed him. I think I've seconded him 3 times in a row. He's the best horse I've ever seen.
Epatante, of course. He's the best horse you've ever seen.
Epatante and Jambon. Or did I? Yeah, Epatante and Jambon, yeah. Best horse I've ever seen. But when horses have like major colic surgery, and obviously he was under the weather a bit last year, there's no guarantee, far from it, that he's going to be the Constitution Hill we've seen before at any stage. So with that in mind, I would be very keen to take him on at Newcastle.
What are you expecting, Kills?
Don't know. I mean, it's interesting now. I mean, remember, Sprinter Sacre came back from all sorts of problems. Yeah. Now, he did win another champion chase, but he was still at least a stone below his best. When he did
that's
so.
A very interesting point.
Because he was so much better than everything else, and as at the moment Constitution Hill is, he could still win
and not be as good.
He could still win a champion hurdle and not be as good as he has.
But I think he has to be taken on at Newcastle.
I suppose, to a lesser extent.
It's understandable. I mean, I don't know what these problems do to horses, but I mean, apparently he was very ill twice. You know what I mean?
I saw him last year just before he went back, and he looked amazing.
I mean,
there's a good chance they'll have no ill effects and he'll move on and he'll be better, but there's also a strong enough chance that he won't be the horse he was.
They don't often come back, guys.
I mean, I'm not the sort that goes in rushing in at even money, let alone 10 on anyway. You know what I mean?
I'd prefer to take him on at that, really.
Well, let's see who might be taking him on at the current time. It's William Hill, of course, and the Ante-Post dockets might have. I mean, it seems crazy early. We are still technically just about in the summer, Jay, but that 2-1 has seen a bit of support, has it?
It has. Every time there's some positive quotes, etc., there is a flurry of bets at the 2-1. Obviously, it would have been a fair bit shorter this time 12 months ago. I've also just revived a special we had out last season. Number of runs he'll have this season, where 4-6 under 3.5 and 11-10 over 3.5 during the British and Irish jump season.
That's piqued your interest, is it, a little bit? What do you reckon? Go on, if you had to have a bet on that now.
It just shows what a sad state of affairs.
It's not great, is it? We're clutching this throat. We've got more content to talk about than talking about how many times Constitution.
That's an interesting one. Anyway, the final word on that. The conversation is done. Let's get on.
The horse is odds on to have under.
That's amazing, isn't it? But look, this is what the game is, all right? So there we're there. That special is out there. Go to the site. If you want to take 2-1, you're getting 5-4 this time last year. There you go. And come and take him on. That's what we're saying, trainers out there. Let's have some proper competitive racing. If the Olympics in Royal Ascot has shown us anything, it's that a defeat doesn't really mean a great deal. All right, okay, on we go. We'll still love you. Papers, what are we looking at today? If you pick up your Racing Post. Here, the Field of Dreams. There is the Grey, who is the current favourite, I think still, to give the Gosdens a 7th win in the Solario Stakes. Gosden's out for another golden day in the Solario. Won it with the likes of Kingman, of course. Too darn hot. There's Ryan Moore with his dad Gary, of course, in a packed Sandown yesterday. Of course, he goes to the Curragh today. Ryan, more of that to come. Plenty of reasons I think Fielder Cole can emulate stable's illustrious winners. There's going to be a yin to Robbie Wilder's yang there on the panel. And there's a smart view. Go for Tiger Mask. Experience will win the day. Clifford Lee, Carl Burt. Set your clock by them, can't you? He'll probably say, catch me if you can. We're down to 7 now, of course, as it stands in the Solario. Moving on, Johnny Dineen will be with us shortly. Dreamy is the wager of the weekend. There's going to be some love for that. That's the headline too. That's in the Newton Anna stud race, of course, the second on the day. There is the headline that we've been talking about. Constitution is Pelly at his peak, playing in Saudi Arabia, says DJ. A little nod for DJ, by the way, guys. Loads of love on the show for him last week, of course. Magical Zoe, he's been banging that drum for a long time. He will go to see Mo Salah with his pals. That's the third winning nap, DJ told me as well. Nassar Run gives Doha a big chance in the Atlanta, says Bryce-wise himself, Tom Seagal. And Doha, Under Siege, Boardman and Shazam. That's the premium content we give you here on the show. That is done and dusted, and on with the show we must go. Let's get to Beverley, shall we? It's the Beverley Bullet Day, and we're going to be previewing it after this. Insider, there you go. Who knew? It's all new. You can get kills on the WhatsApp. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Right, on we go. Beverley Bullet Day, as I said. We're down to 4. Yes, Thundering is out of the opener. Whatever you're doing, whether you're on your app, William Hill, Racing Post, you've got your paper, make your way, please, to the 1:30 at Beverley. We're going to try and tell you what's about to win it. What does the market suggest, Jamie McBride? And we've got our lovely offer on this as well.
We have this our top price guarantee offer. Yep, top price every horse on the first TV race. It's obviously not the most competitive of races to begin the TV slate, but given free rein, we'd like to be laying quietness, but not really laying it as much as we'd hope. And relatively speaking, in comparison, Loyal Touch and Walter Hartright are more popular at the moment.
Okay, Aidan, come to you. Let's do this quietness. Has been on an absolute roll. Good to see Marcus Dragoning amongst the Saturday favourites. PJ McDonald in the plate. Do for you?
No, I'm with Walter Hartright. I think it's been winning a lot recently. Even when he's beat the last time, the horse that just beat him, he did beat him well, was only just beaten Heritage Handicap at York last week. So that's the strongest form. The horse has been running in races of this quality. Whereas you look at quietness, it's he's on the way up. So you could take that angle, but in lesser races than this, isn't it? So I'd go with Walter Hartright, proven at this level.
She would be, what would she be? She'd be 5 out of 5 if she hadn't swerved all the way across Isha's home straight, of course, on her penultimate start. And you're taking her on as well, are you?
Yeah, I literally could have just cut and paste what Aidan just said. Walter Hartright's the one with the more solid form. That second to Lieber Power, yes, beating a fair way, but
Racing League form.
Racing League form.
Didn't understand because the colours are different.
You didn't know he was running. Not being silly, he was actually one that I missed because I didn't get the colours. I'm not going to be honest.
But yeah, it's a strong piece of form, and he's got just as much a winning habit as quietness. They both won 4 of the last 5, haven't they?
Crucially, he's got the course form as well. Loyal Touch is a horse that I quite like, and I wouldn't worry about his form figures too much. This looks like an easier spot for him. I think he could go well. He's the course and distance winner, though.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I just can't. I'm struggling to get the Johnson horses right this season. We always used to call Mark Johnson the binary trainers at 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. But I just don't.
Charlie Johnson's playing with our minds even more. Yeah. Have you ever ridden around Beverley before?
No, never.
It is unbelievably, course regulars will tell you, I've been there, and I didn't realise just how stiff it was until you go. It is all unbelievable. You need to be proper tough to win there, and it's their feature race coming up next. Strong word for Walter Hartright in the first, guys. That 9-4 will not be beaten by William Hill. Make your way there now. And of course, this is the William Hill Beverley Bullet. You're doing sponsorship all over the place, Jamie McBride, aren't you? And here you are, stuck with us. You're going to be going up the road and giving the prize out.
No, I'm stuck in the office this afternoon. While since I've been to Beverley, but it is very stiff, which is the negative for my selection, Democracy Dilemma. I fancy it'll be a long last furlong for us Democracy Dilemma backers. Only 7 runners, but a very competitive heat. Looks as though Comanche Falls may just win the battle for favouritism. He looks as though he's the worst result at the moment, and he's been the strongest of those at the front end of the market. Although there has also been money for the unexposed Staincliffe and Al-Bashir, who probably deserves a pass for last week at York from that wide draw.
He always gets a pass, Al-Bashir. We'll go to that. He does, of course, win every now and then. So it is a William Hill Beverley Bullet then. And if you'd have told me this was the first race with the We Will Not Be Beaten, I didn't think this was going to be 4-1 the field. I thought that something would have capitulated, and I probably thought it would have been Comanche Falls.
Yeah, I like Comanche Falls. I mean, I think he just ran an absolute blinder at York. Yes, there was big draw bias all week at York, wasn't there? But you know, he still ran into probably a very well handicapped horse in El Monjed, and he saw his race out well. He's coming back to 5. He's only run at 5 furlong once before, but I only believe he beat him then at Haydock. Stiff 5 is going to be suit him absolutely down to the ground, I think. My big worry, more than anything else, is what Clarendon House is going to do, because he just happens to be drawn 6 of 7 and has gone violently right out of the stalls on his last 2 starts, admittedly coming out slowly enough to avoid them, so hopefully he'll do that today. I mean, the thing is, he's 8-1. He's the highest rated horse in the race.
He's had a good year, hasn't he?
If he behaves himself, he can come out and win this easily. But he seems to have lost his way, and I don't know what this, but he is ducking really violently right on his last 2 starts. So that would worry me, because Comanche Falls is in 4 and he's in 6, but I think Comanche Falls is about to.
Yeah, if you saw Robbie Wilder's Ante-Postman mail shot in the week, he put this up and says it's his time of year. Robbie, the Ante-Postman, all over Comanche Falls as well. What does Aidan like?
Well, first race I kind of went for the horse proven at the level. This race I'm going to change my cap and go for Staincliffe. You know, the unexposed angle. You know, when he won, he's at Newcastle, the second horse, actually is quite useful. You know, so there's form there, although at lesser level, and you know he's not been in a grade like this, but you know he's proven that he's beat some decent horses. You know, some of the old favourites like Comanche Falls and Al-Bashir, you know they won't know themselves in a small 7-runner field. Well, they're used to nearly 20, so they won't know themselves in a race like this. But I'm just going to go for the unexposed angle this time and go with Staincliffe. He's
making a very good fist of it, Jack Shannon, isn't he? He seems like he's been around for quite a long time now. He had a double, I think, at Windsor last week and nearly pulled it off with Certain Lad in the feature there as well. He's a good trainer.
Trainer, yeah. His strike rate is very good.
Yeah, okay, that is the unexposed Staincliffe for Aidan. Comanche Falls, big tip for that. And Jamie McBride, he's going for the speedball that is Democracy Dilemma. That is Beverley's jewel in the crown. It's the Bullet 205. Enjoy it. Let's go to Sandown now then. 2 feature races coming from the Asia track. Really good card there. And it is the Atalanta Stakes. And 5-4. A reminder, Jay, if you want to play, you haven't done so far, this is the place to be, right?
Yeah, this is the boost this week, Tamfano. 6-4 from that 5-4. Yeah, she should really win on weights and measures, etc. But it's just a case of horses at that price. How many excuses do you want to keep making for them when they get beaten? It's maybe a little bit disconcerting as well that they can't settle on her trip. They keep moving her up and down in trip. Doha's also been popular. It's Tom Siegel's price-wise tip. She's holding her price. Bits of money for Doom, but it is all going to be about Tamfana this race for the bookmakers.
Rated 112. And on paper, you would say this is one of the best horses in the last 10 years that's probably taken in the Atalanta Stakes. Here we are, we're pushing out. Some bookmakers went odds on.
Well, you see what happens every now and again when you get these group races and a short price favourite would form way ahead of everything else. Look what happened to Audience last week. Yeah, it was officially £12 better than everything else, and he's finished 4th to a couple of horses supposed to be £20 better than. So it does happen. I mean, Tamfana deserves to be a short price favourite. I think we're probably being a little bit harsher. She has run 3 Group 1s, and she's coming right back down in class.
I don't think she was ever going to say a mile and a half.
No, she didn't.
I think you could write.
Did you see Oshin? He was interviewed by Matt Chapman the day after, and he said, "Were you a little bit disappointed about that?" Along the lines of, he loves this filly, and he said, "I got there at the mile 2 thinking I'm going to win easy."
I mean, she could win easy. I mean, what would worry me a little bit is a tactical race and what they do with her, because I think she's been held up maybe to get the trip on the last 2 starts, because she has been ridden more prominently before, but there isn't a great deal of pace in this race.
She has to be.
I thought Spiritual might nick it from the front again, like she did at
Ascot.
No, at Sandown on Eclipse Day.
Oh yes, of course. Sorry,
that was soft ground.
Kieran at Ascot. There was another filly, wasn't
I ended up backing Rollicker each way. I ended up backing Rollicker each way. Instead, she was not that far behind Tamfana in the Guineas. She was finished 6th. It was quite a fair break afterwards in France last time and on bad ground, so I'd forgive her that.
The case for Doha's quite clear to see. I must admit, I had
Royal
to be
Ascot
reminded
winner,
of her. She won at Royal Ascot. She then went to Pontefract. I think they thought she'd win. That Pontefract form is working out rather well.
Similar to this kind of race, really.
I mean, the thing is, you can actually make a case for all of these beating all of these apart from the Fav. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even Doom and all that running.
Well, Doha
was.
What price is Doha now with you, Jay? She was around about 7/8 yesterday, and obviously people had looked in the without market for her. That was quite popular as well, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, she's 11-2 with us. Like I say, she is solid because Tom's put her up, and she did run with some credit at Group 1 company last time, so she is easy enough to make a case for, I think.
I thought she ran above herself behind Opera Singer. We've seen See the Fire come out with that. I wondered whether she might have been there to make the pace of Sparkling Plenty, the French Oaks winner that came over and has form with Tamfana as well, of course. So you could link that in somewhere. What are you with, guys out there? Tamfana, are you taking the boost? Is this one of the big ladies of the day? Have your say, Aidan.
Well, we've actually an unraced half sister to Tamfana at home that's been training really well and really like her, so we followed her.
You wanted to win by about 6 lengths.
Well, we were myself and my brother.
Kevin will be delighted.
We were watching the Guineas and to finish 4th. Obviously, when you got a half sister finishing 4th, is no real good for the pedigree, really. Because
she should have won the Guineas, shouldn't she? I mean, Maddie Pale put her up
Yeah, and it was a great run, and that's the run style, and sometimes you get a run, sometimes you don't, and she didn't, which is just the way it was. I think the next time was a perfectly good run, and then I don't think she was ever going to stay at 1.5 miles the last time. So we followed her very closely, and she's very talented.
So you wanted to win, but were you back her?
We need her to win. I would, 100%. Yeah, you look. Although she hasn't won this year, she's getting weight because of that. And she's been set.
She's a polarising horse.
Two classics.
The worry is the pace setup, isn't it? Because obviously she was held up in that Guineas, which was really strongly run. And with a clear run, she might well have won. But this isn't going to be really strongly run. A lot of races at Sandown aren't, especially smaller field affairs.
I think she can go forward a little bit.
She can do, yeah. It depends on what Oisin Murphy does. But if they drop her out, I think she might be in trouble.
I'd agree with that, yeah.
Oisin, he was a winner there yesterday. He's
on the ball all season.
He's coasting towards the Jockey Championship.
He could stop now, couldn't he?
He's been an absolute joy to watch, I think, Oisin Murphy this year. All right, okay. That is the Atlanta Stakes, and it's the boost. A quick word for Doom. I keep thinking that she's going to win one. I'm going to back her each way at that price because she's always a decent price. She always runs her race, and she's got some top form.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you could make a case for all of these beating each other apart from the Fav. If the Fav runs a race, she'll probably win.
All right, Fav runs a race, probably wins, says Kills. It's the boost. Get to it. Let's go to Chester. Really good Saturday there. They got the Chester Stakes, of course, which got absurd up against Keith Scorrister, David Menuzier's dual stable star, if you like. That's an interesting race. But we're going to hone in on this mother and a father of a handicap. Over the 7 furlongs we go. Tom Siegel has put up Under Siege. He's the 3-year-old in the party, probably on his way to the Cambridgeshire, says Tom. We haven't seen the best, anything like it of him yet, and the market is now honing on to this Jamie McBride.
Yeah, he is very popular. We're down to 13 at the moment, so we're going to pay 4 places as long as 12 run. I would have laid you big odds that the first non-runner would have been drawn 1, but the other 3 are all drawn high, unsurprisingly. We have seen good money for 3 of them. Under Siege, like I say, Tom's put up. I'm quite happy to be a layer of him. Yannick has also been very popular. He's easy to make a case for. And Boardman was the other Tom selection, price-wise column. Maybe the ground might be not quite soft enough, but he was 14 into 7, although there is a 15p rule for Percy's lad.
Thanks, Jay. Now this will perk you up. This is what I would call your sort of race. And every week, Aidan, people message in, or we have a chat on the show and say Paul and Tom are obviously sharing the same bedroom together on a Friday night, because they tend to put up the same tips in the paper on a Saturday. I felt almost certain that Boardman was going to be in your Sizzlers, because he is a project, right?
I mean, he is a project and all, but I don't know what the project is anymore, because I mean, he does most of it. He used to do most of it winning in the early part of the season in May. So not that sure about him. Now, I wouldn't worry about the ground. He's every bit as good on fast ground as he is on soft ground. If you look at his form, that wouldn't bother me in the slightest. But I've got another old fav in there that's got well handicapped, and I thought ran fairly eye-catchingly well.
The tip now.
In the Golden Mile, which is Revic, who's only beaten 6 lengths, just cruising around the back, never got any sort of run. That was easily his best run of this year.
He loves Chester.
Loves Chester. He's been in the first 4 10 times out of 13 starts, won 4 of them.
Yeah, usually wins at the May meeting. He's got a lot of duck eggs next to his name, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. But he's come down the handicap because of.
Are you a Richard Spencer fan? Because you tend to tip quite a few of their horses.
I wouldn't say a fan. I like the guy. You know what I mean?
I mean the way he campaigns his horses.
Yeah, I seem to have an affinity with some of them.
He tipped a 2-year-old at Royal Ascot, I remember, and something that won the other day.
No, didn't win. I tipped at Goodwood, and it was eye-catching, and it was far less eye-catching at York last week. But once soft ground bowl accounts. But no, 2 tribes of his I backed at York, which was 4th. Would have been 2nd with a clear run, I think. So yeah, but I mean, Revic is a mate of mine. I have been up to see him.
Yeah.
I spent about 10 minutes with him, and I looked round, and the rest of the party had all disappeared, and I was still there. I was still there with him because he was enjoying the patch. So, but yeah, no. Aside from that, I mean, he's a Chester horse. I just saw enough in that race at Goodwood to think he'll run well. I could have done with a slightly lower draw than 9, but
he's a take back horse, isn't
but it hasn't been. The draw hasn't been so marked at Chester that for some reason or other this year.
I've got a theory on this in this race.
It's not.
I think the ground has been to do with that, and I looked into it, and I was talking about it on a programme I was on yesterday. And this race in particular is if you look at it historically, it's a low stall race, because I went into it, Kills, with exactly the same mindset as you, thinking it was if there's a trip at Chester, Aidan and viewers and Jamie, that you might want to get a double figure stall and have a good run in, it's probably this. But for what I think the ground's got a lot to do with it, because they come right off. They sometimes have that cutaway as well that's not there or it's there. They chicane right. It's a bit like York sometimes, that home straight. You just don't know where they're going to go.
Yeah, but the draw hasn't been so pronounced at Chester all season.
Well, Yennefer won last time from draw 12. So
he'd been laid out for this as well. Ocean McSweeney taking the ride. He beat Boardman last time out. He's worse off of the way. You got a Divine Libra in there who's had a really good season. He won, of course, here at the May meeting. Where's Aidan going?
Yennefer, I think, like you see, he's better draw today. He won from a wide draw the last time. Likes Chester as well. Runs well there when he runs. I think career high, but I think so. But I'd fancy him. I would give a word for physique as well. Won a good race at Galway. Mickey Fenton would know Chester from his riding days, and I'm sure he's not over there for a jolly. So I would give at a bigger price. I would give a strong mention to physique, but I'd be going for Yennefer.
Okay, all right. Okay, there's 4 places as well there. We might need them. You could have a few stabs at it for what it's worth. I think Tom Siegel's nailed this one with Under Siege as well. The 3-year-old might have more to offer. Right, let's move on, shall we? It's going to be Solario Stakes next, isn't it? Of course, we see some absolute top notches in this over the years. We'll find out what Aidan and Kills make of the race this year and who's going to win after Jay gives us the update. 11-8 now. Field of Gold.
Horse in the Racing Post today, front page, and he's also going to be William Hill's headline horse, I think, today. He's currently the worst result of the day. I can only see that getting that worse, really. He's going to be really popular, given connections, the colours, the Judd-Monk colours, the fact that Gosden likes to run a good 2-year-old in this race. Kinman and Two Darn Hot recently. So he's going to be a bad result. Royal Playwright, though, is also strong enough in the market. Both of those being back to exclusion of others. Matawi Bay, there's been bits and pieces for, but only bits and pieces in comparison to the big 2. So we're going to need to get anything apart from Field of Gold in front for us.
Oh, marvellous. Okay, well, this is probably the race that everyone was tuning in, looking forward to us previewing of the others. Or they've got Beverley Bullet, of course, and some Atlanta State, some great handicaps as well. This is the one, I think. Are we going to see a star in the future? And, well, we've got a star joining us as well now. From his sick bed. Let's go across the Irish Sea, shall we? And see what sort of... John, amazing scenes. You've been out... Look, you are a star. You've even got one on your...
Is that a T-shirt or is just the sheets wrapped around you?
Oh, we got him going already. John has not had a great week, but still he makes his appearance on the show. A round of applause for that. You join us in time, John. You've probably been listening. Field of Gold. This could, I imagine, be your sort of horse.
Yeah, look, when I saw the race, first I thought he was opposable, Dave, but I didn't think that he'd be more or less the same price as Royal Playwright. You know what I mean? I didn't think... Look, when I saw the front three, I said they look like three potentially smartish horses. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't think it can be a good race if Tiger Mask is good enough to win. You know what I mean? It would need to be just an ordinary event if that can go by the other three. Look, originally I thought Field of Gold might be opposable, but when I look at it now, he probably has stronger credentials than Royal Playwright. I'll probably stay out of the race in the finish now, but Royal Playwright looks the one that's probably bad value to me now at 7-4 rather than the 11-8 the favourite.
Oh, this is where we're about to get feisty here because the tennis match has begun. Because you're mad keen on Royal Playwright.
I am very keen on Royal Playwright. Yeah, I don't see what he's done. I don't see what he's done wrong. No, the point being that Field of Gold, yes, has stronger form credentials, but he's run twice. If they both only ran once, Royal Favourite would be odds on because he ran much better first time than Field of Gold did.
You
know what I mean? No, yeah, of course they can be green. But Royal Favourite was the least experienced horse at Salisbury. He hurdled the path and still beat more experienced horses by 3 lengths. The runner-up went on and finished second of 16 in a nursery at Glorious Goodwood.
That's the
original Outlaw.
Yeah. Beckett's got a line.
So that's really solid form. The horse is a half brother to Sea the Fire.
You love this family. It's Arabian Queen.
Arabian Queen's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a half brother to Sea the Fire.
That story
it's good. She's obviously a good broodmare. She's got Spirit Mixer, who's obviously a stayer, was second in the Northumberland Plate. Sea the Fire, who's clearly
on her way to the QE2,
high class. And this fellow, I think he's potentially pretty good.
Yeah. He looks the part as well, son of Lope de Vega. We've got another Lope de Vega in as well as Matari Bay. So strong on, because you see that he's entitled to improve like Field of Gold.
I think he's absolutely entitled to improve. Because he's had one race less. He's certainly,
you got the right man on board?
Doesn't need that much. Yeah, the right man on board. They apparently like him as well, the horse.
He's won it with South Seas, Andrew Balding, of course. Murphy probably would have ridden that.
Yeah, that never won another race though, did it? So.
Because it's a funny race, this, isn't it? Ravens Pass won it.
Obviously, the Goslers have run some really, really good horses in there. You've got to respect that. But
and they obviously kept him back from York as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right, okay, strong Royal Playwright. Johnny Dineen, not sure about that in the market so far, but as Aidan Coleman said,
I'd be a big Field of Gold fan. I really would. You look at Royal Playwright, I know the second horse come out and run well at Goodwood, but I think the second, third, fourth, maybe even fifth haven't won a race of any description. He can only win. He was first time out, as you say, so he's obviously the only horse to take out of it, in my opinion, for a race like this. But just because of that, I'd be taking him on with the likes of Field of Gold. I know what Johnny said, and he's dead right about the likes of Tiger Mask, but just in case these two aren't stars, he's got a rating of 101 or 2, probably go forward, could take a bit of catching.
All right, okay, that is tip-wise then. Throw in Matari Bay as well for Rafe Beckett. Do you remember last season, Rafe Beckett did a stunning finish with his 2-year-olds, didn't he? That looks like a big prize to me, Matari Bay. Has he been weak then, as the concentration's just been on the top 2 in the market, as now we're mature, Jamie McBride?
Yeah, that's true. He hasn't been totally friendless, but he is weak in comparison to the big 2, yeah, undoubtedly. I forgot to say as well, as ever, we've got some specials just for horses to go on to win big races, double. So we've got Field of Gold, if you want him to win today, and the Dewhurst is 25. Today in the Guineas is 40. And we've also got similar prices for Royal Playwright as well.
Love it, Jay. All right, love you being with us. Welcome along to the Morning Post. If you're just joining us this morning, like and subscribe. That's what it's all about. Saturday previews done. Naps to come, of course, as is a Sunday preview and the business end of the show. Should command a bit more respect in this studio, you know. And Mike Live Orton again. You know, it's absolute, honestly. Bearing in mind that you did a show the other day and a senior producer forgot to plug your laptop in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I need a bit more respect put on this show's name. Mike Clive Autumn, which means we're ready to go. And let's have a look at the Sunday previews. We do this every week for you because William Hill are basically giving you great opportunities to get ahead. We've got Aidan, who's really looked at the Curragh card, and tomorrow at Tipperary as well. We've got Johnny Dineen ready to go. Kills is having a study up. Here we go. We have got the Irish Stallion Farms EBF. Oh, that's going to really test my eyes, isn't it? Abergwan Stakes. It's for the listed fillies, and she's quality is just that at the top of the market, Jay.
Yeah, it's quite enough betting heat, as you imagine, so far, with people concentrating on today's racing. But there has been a little bit of interest in Little Queenie and a little bit of interest in the huge price Gabriella's Spirit. But that's as far as it goes at the moment. Like I said, I don't think the 8 Irish Sprinters has much depth to it. Now, this does look wide open, as if it's a horrible cliche, but it does look as if these could beat each other on different days.
Okay, yeah, Go Atletico's also I've always had a bit of an affinity with. Johnny Dineen here for this reason. What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, I agree with Jamie. You're talking like horses that will beat each other different days. You're talking like listed class against a few like decent handicappers, the likes of Little Queenie, and that is coming in from handicaps. Jackie Yarrow has been kind of playing it straight at a slightly higher level, and that could represent a drop in grade here. If I was going for one, he'd look overpriced to me in relation to Little Queenie anyway, that's for sure. You know, like I'd say there's a much better chance that the likes of that, and so Majestic as well, and Majestic Beauty, I wouldn't fancy any of those. Jackie Yarrow, like it probably finds it hard to win, but it has been running at a slightly different level, and that's the one I'd be going for. It should be in the first 3, I'd imagine.
Yes, I am there because I'm trying to remember where it was that I put it up as an eye catcher. It was at Ascot, Johnny. Do you remember he ran there and he ran up against the back horses? And I thought, Lofthane's got one here. They're going to maybe get it. I could have even seen him go for the Wokingham or something like that. But here he is plying his trade in these sort of trying to nick a listed or a Group 3 race. He's a tricky one for me. But the fact that you're going for him has given me a little bit of a jolly up there. Aidan Coleman.
Yeah, it's just Irish Sprinters, a minefield, isn't it? You know, it's competitive probably for the lack of quality or standout horses. I'd be going with Go Atletico, but I think rated 105, isn't he? He's, you know, runs plenty of good races, but you know, I went through this race and it's hard to get they can all beat each other, can't they?
Is it brain fuddling you as well?
No, really. I thought she's quality was strong and was fair enough at the head of the market, to be honest. Right, easy winner here, 3 starts ago. Running races won by Believing in Bradsoe on the last 2 starts. Not really disgraced in either.
Yeah, that's a big nod, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Okay, that's tomorrow. A really good card at Tipperary. Let's talk today about the Curragh, because Ryan Moore, of course, skips Sandown, skips Beverley, or wherever we might go domestically, and he comes over, Johnny. And there's 2-year-olds to the 4, isn't it? Of course, we've got this what everyone seemed to think was one of the eye catchers of the entire season. Acapulco Bay going in the opener. He's a skinny price, John, but everyone will have him in the Accas.
Yeah, look, he's going to be unopposable, but he's going to be very, very poor odds at the same time. You're talking like 3-1 and maybe even more so. Like as regards having a bet, he's unbackable, really, to be honest. He is a bit short. He should win, barring accidents. I like the one in the second race, Dreamy. I do think that's about the only horse in that race that has the potential to be a Group 2 horse or better, if you know what I'm saying. This is a Group 3. But it's a Group 3 in name only. A lot of horses here are nowhere near Group 3 standard. It's Group 3 standard. It won a race in Goodwood, and it didn't even know how to run properly. He only got it up like late, but he was always kind of going to get her up at the same time. probably wasn't a great race, but she'll appreciate going up and trip, and I'd say she'll appreciate going up again further as time goes on. But I thought she was great price. She's heading for 5 to 4, 11 to 8 there on the computer. I thought she was probably the bet of the day, Dreamy. The one horse I wouldn't back of Ryan Moore's is the skinny one in the third race, Ides of March. Yeah, I do think that's the horse of Joseph O'Brien's, what's he called again? Some apple or, what's it called?
We're all making our way there, Johnny. This is
Rudy's apple.
You had one
Rudy's
job, John.
Sorry. Yeah, Rudy's apple. I'd give that a sporting chance to beat. I do think it's a match. I wouldn't put anyone, and I wouldn't be driving anyone into lane the favour on it. I do think it is a great chance. But Ides of March won a poor race, and like Rudy's apple is rated in triple figure rating, 102 or something. It ran bad I suppose. Well, it was out of its class against Babouche and them, and in that Group 1 race, the Phoenix Stakes. But this is a big drop in grade here now, and I do think it may have every chance of possibly of beating that favourite. And there's one other race in the card there, but it's probably a tricky race. I could see either Tarawa or Hanalia winning it, maybe.
Yes, that's against Wingspan, who's been very well backed. You were nodding a bit throughout Dreamy. I'm going to come to Aidan.
Dreamy. Well, there was a massive word for Dreamy about 2 days before that maiden, and half of us expected her to go off odds on, and they couldn't give her away.
This is a theme with Aidan's horses he brings over, right?
She was completely clueless. And it's, when you don't know what you're doing, running around a bend at Goodwood's probably the last place you want to be. So I think I thought she performed miracles to win, and he wasn't particularly hard on her either.
Had a run as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
He took Rhododendron to Glorious Goodwood years ago. Do you remember? It was really something.
Yeah, so I think she's potentially way better than she was.
You're loving that.
Well, she's my nap. She's right. Like I had a bit.
I'm trying to tease people to the naps in a couple of minutes' time.
Well, we're on to her now.
He's given his away. You've given your away. It's only me and Johnny Dineen playing by the bat.
But I had a bit of interest there at Goodwood because, as you say, like I thought she'd be 100% to be odds on, and she was very backable. And as Johnny said there, she was always getting up. She was green. She was learning on the job, and she can only come forward from that. And I think she's gone into probably odds on now, but. It's very hard to oppose her, really. Very hard.
You've got a sneakily good record on this show as well, Coleman. It's annoying. All right, okay, let's carry on then. That is Ireland done. We're sticking, though, of course. Now we're going to go to Leopardstown for a look at the Irish Champion Stakes. We give you an anti-post angle on the show. And Jamie McBride, economics, does he go? It looks now that City of Troy's out the way. We're hearing that August Rodin will be ridden by Ryan Moore, not Los Angeles, who looks like he's going to have a breadth for the arc in this race. You've got White Birch coming back, Ghost Rider, of course, no City of Troy. He'll love the ground if it stays as it is. What are punters loving?
Yeah, economics is the only loser in the book and is a pretty bad result. But we did actually go 7-4 from 6-4 yesterday, just with Aidan firming up his plans and looking as though he's going to have a strongish team for this. And it does look as though there's enough opposition that 7-4 can't really be much shorter come the day, I don't think, as long as they all get there. So we're happy to be top price, the top three here: Economics, August Rodin, and White Birch. And there's a couple were just a little bit under the market price. We think a little bit overpriced elsewhere. Ghost Rider and Shin Emperor are a couple we're keeping a little bit on side.
That is a great list of horses there, Aidan.
It's going to be a good race, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be very tactically run as well. No, it's probably not. It's going to be very
like
strongly.
Trumps, isn't it? Who's going to be? If you had to have one card in this race, who would you play?
Yeah,
Economics run.
Well, the thing is, as you mentioned earlier, the ground can get very fast there, can't it? You'd worry about where the Economics would run then.
Short home straight, which is some people are telling me is a slight worry for Economics.
We haven't seen enough of them to say that,
Short,
though,
is it?
Well, it's
not that short. It's not Del Mar like that, is it?
I see what they mean. It's a race which Johnny might tell us.
You're clutching at straws if you're going down the short.
I don't know about that, because the field sort of cuts up a bit and they can sprint off the home turn. I think we've seen some very good horses beaten.
It's a fair way home at Leopardstown, mate.
Oh, I think you don't see many win, kicking on from the front.
Yeah.
So that's a load of cobblers.
I think so,
yeah.
Fine.
Well, I'd love to see White Birch come back out because he's looked. He just looked really, really good, and he's had his issues since.
Season, yeah, isn't he?
It'd be a shame if he don't come back up. But he probably wants a bit of cut too. But the thing is, you always get excited looking at lists like that a couple of weeks in advance.
Like King George.
And then when you actually see what turns up,
I think this race
hopefully
will
this
hold up.
will hold up.
I think that would, Bar Economics would be the only one. Like, remember, we used to have a St. Mark's Basilica year. Like, he wouldn't have ran that year, would he? And
but even if you're the likes of Luxembourg, right, who has his detractors, but he's a proper Group 1 horse.
Yeah, he runs well.
You'd be having a stab at Economics, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? Because he's not proven himself yet at the very top.
100%. Yeah, he's never been anywhere near a race like this, has he?
All right, Johnny Dineen, you've had a quick look at this. Which card would you be playing?
Look, I don't know. White Birch, like, what is that hardly going to turn up here? I mean, if the ground is, you expect, probably be on the quickish side, goodish side. You'd imagine it should be around that time of the year. Although you can never say for sure. Los Angeles doesn't look like he's going to run. Like, Ghostwriter was well beaten in York. Like, you'd be kind of half disappointed if a horse like that could win this race. Opera Singer, I'd probably have other targets as well. I don't know what's going to take on Economics, but the one thing I'd have strongly against Economics is the fact that when he won the Dante, they said there was blood coming from his nose. Then he missed months when he should have run somewhere. You'd assure that why was he missing for 2.5 months? Then he's won in France, and he's won really, really well. He's no doubt he's a really good horse if they can keep him right. But I'd imagine that he's a thing being kept together by a string. I'll never ever in my life back Economics after hearing there was blood coming from his nose after winning in the Dante. Aidan might tell you something about that now, that he'd know more about horses than me, obviously. But I think it's a very bad sign that he missed so much time after that reported sighting of blood coming from his nose.
Here's a hospital pass.
Well, it wasn't reported. Like, if
it was reported, it was dripping.
You could see it. I remember I watched it and I was very impressed. And obviously, when the ITV cameras were coming to interview Tom Marquand after the race, like, the horse was square on, and you could see the blood coming from his nose, and you could see them wiping it with a number cloth. So, but I just thought it was poor that, like, although it was blatantly obvious, and you have to be careful, and on terrestrial TV what you say about something like this, but like, you have to kind of pick it up, don't you? It's your job as a reporter to say, it was obvious.
It was all right after Deauville.
No, they tried to pass it off as, banged his head in the stalls or whatever, didn't they? But I mean, the fact that it missed the time afterwards.
It was there, but I just thought it should have been picked up on, really, because it wasn't as if...
It's putting Johnny off. He's the expert maker.
He's dead right. He's dead right. It's not hearsay when it's on TV and you can see it on live television. It's there, isn't it? So it should have been brought up, I thought.
It's a moot point, that. From an analyst's point of view, I can tell you, when you say the horse bled from the nose, you get a call from the trainer. I can tell you that much, because it's a contentious thing, a horse bleeding. But anyway,
your job
we
is to
haven't got
report.
time for that. Look, I'm looking at the clock, and I'm thinking we are very close to the golden 11-hour mark. All right, and I reckon we can do it, Johnny Dineen. All right, let's get the naps up, shall we? That is the 14th of September, massive weekend. Caro, you've got the Flying Five and all that. But I'm getting a juicy 8-1 on my nap about Capo Vaticano, which is Andrew Balding at Chester. He absolutely loves this place. It's drawn to attack. It's way better than it showed its last 2 starts. That'll do for Tony Bloom. We'll be checking around about half-time of Brighton and watching this win. Royal Playwright for Kills.
85-40. What sort of price is that? Come on, lads. 9-4.
It's a 2-tick enhancement, I can tell you that much. And whatever that means, Jamie McBride will tell us. But it's decent. 11-10 about Dreamy.
Yeah, it should be the other way around. Should be 10-11.
Happy days. You're getting look at Johnny Dineen's gone for 13-2 on Ruby's Apple. Bet you've had a few of them this week, John.
Yeah, no, I do think that's great. I think you've one horse to beat. You're getting 13-2 in a 2-horse race, basically.
Lovely, and we end. You can talk us through all these. They've been boosted. They're live now, right, Jamie? As you go for the Speedball Democracy Dilemma at
boosted to 11-2. Yeah, hopefully he makes all in the William Hill Beverley Bullet.
Absolutely brilliant. Even Jamie McBride's envisaging this golden 11 o'clock hour. We should all have the streamers going and everything, shouldn't we?
Johnny can roll over now, can't he?
Absolutely. John, thanks for joining us. I know you've had a tricky week, mate. You can't keep a good man down. Get it out the way before the jump season, eh?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll be okay, and I'm nearly okay as it is, to be honest. I can talk rubbish anyway, so I'm okay.
No, nothing changes there, John. Brilliant.
Okay.
Absolute star, Johnny Dineen, as Jamie McBride has been as well. Go well today, Jay. The red flag, still Tamfana maybe, or?
2 key horses, I think, today, Tamfana and Field of Gold.
We're rubbing our hands for that. Aidan, great to see that. Talking about, jumping and things like that and hospital pass and stuff. How's the knee?
It's not great, but it hasn't been great for a long time now. So I see it in a surge and day before yesterday, and
I'm sensing a bit more buoyancy about you, though.
oh,
been a
it's
tough
fine.
year,
I'm so used to living with it now. But I've got just a little bit disheartening the other day. I've got 2 more surgeries, and one of them's a pretty big one. So that'll be another few months on crutches again.
You're always welcome here, man.
Well, thank you. I'll be here. But yeah, it's just kind of back to kind of square one again in about 6 to 9 months' time when I get another operation on it. But it is what it is.
If you want to see it, go and check out his X profile, because I've seen the photo as well. You got any metal in you? You're probably one of those guys that when you walk through the security,
No,
they all probably get the guns out, do they?
I did take a ludicrously heavy fall on my left knee in March, and it still hasn't got better. And stairs is an issue.
Oh yeah, I know.
Stairs,
My knee is sore as well. Yeah.
stairs is an issue. Going down rather than up as well.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm only just
I
walking
struggle
again, and
with
we're
going
in
down,
about a bang on his knee from March. You wouldn't believe it, would you? Keels, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming. As ever. All right, this has been the Morning Post. You've been great. 11:01, we nearly got there. We had to throw some politics in as well. Get your naps out. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Well done to the producers as well. This has been the Morning Post.